Hello everyone, I'm Shubham Saxena and welcome to the third episode of Windows Phone How-To series. In this episode, we will learn about dispatcher timer, stopwatch and timer applications. Dispatcher timer is as similar as the timer we used previously in the WPF applications. Timer is nothing but a timer which ticks after a particular interval which we set. Let's see how we can use this dispatcher timer in our Windows Phone applications. The very first thing required for dispatcher timer is the namespace. The namespace required is system.windows.threading. Here are the list of some important properties, methods and events which we'll be using while using the dispatcher timer. Properties used are interval and is enabled. Interval sets or gets the period of time between timer ticks. Suppose you want your timer to tick after every 5 seconds, you can set the interval as 5 seconds. Suppose you want to set after 10 seconds, as per requirement you can change the interval of the dispatcher timer. Is enabled gets or sets the value indicating whether the timer is running or not. Suppose you have started your timer a while ago and you want to check whether the timer is running or not, is enabled property can be used. Most common methods are start and stop. As the name signifies, start starts the dispatcher timer and stop stops the dispatcher timer. Event. There is only one event called tick and this occurs when the time interval has been elapsed. Suppose you set your time interval as 5 seconds, so the control will come to this tick event handler after every 5 seconds. Here is the sample code. The first line defines the object for this dispatcher timer which is being called from Windows.threading, and the next line adds the event handler to the tick event handler, and the third line is the setting of the interval. You can set the interval as 1 second in this sample code, and the next we started the dispatcher timer. So without wasting much time, let's quickly jump to the demo part. Let's go to Visual Studio Express for Windows Phone and create a new project. Let's name it BM-03. Yes, our target OS will be Windows Phone 8.0. Our project has been created. So here is our sample project. Let's quickly change this name to, let's name it stopwatch. Let's add a text block here so that we will see our values incrementing or decrementing while we using our dispatcher timer, and a button to start the dispatcher timer obviously. So let me drag it. Let me drag the button in the center and also the text box. I'll quickly increase the size of the that's it. So this simple UI, I have a text block and a button which will be using as the control for showing the values and starting and stopping the dispatcher timer. Let's just quickly go to the CS part. In this, firstly I will add the namespace required, that is Windows System dot Windows dot threading. Now I can add the dispatcher timer object here. Dispatcher timer dt is equals to new dispatcher timer. Simply dt is the new dispatcher timer object created, and in the main page I can just set the interval for this. Interval is equals to new time span. Here you can see this, I can set into hours, minutes or seconds. So I'll just set the 0 and 1 second, so it will take after every 1 second. I just need to add the event handler now, that after taking to every second the control will go to that event handler. Suppose dt.tick. I'll just add an event handler quickly here. Yes, so dt_tick is the event handler created here. Cool. Simply done. Dispatcher timer has only three things in which I'll be using the starting things. I just added the control here. I just add the object of dispatcher timer here. Then just set it the interval, that is 1 second in my case, and then added the event handler dt.tick. So the control will come to this tick object or this event handler. Okay, so now I need to do the thing is I need to start the event handler, or I need to start this dispatcher timer. I've set all the values, I've set the environment for dispatcher timer. I just need to start this. So I'll be starting this on the click of this button. So let's just add an event handler to this button also, button.click. On this click I will just start the dispatcher timer. That's it, our dispatcher timer will be started. Let's quickly run and see what happens. This is the Windows Phone emulator. Our app has been installed in the emulator part, and now here it is. This is our app, and on clicking on the button the dispatcher timer will start. As it is, the dispatcher timer has been started, but the thing is nothing has been happened. Suppose on this tick event I have just added the throw the non-implemented exception here, so just throwing a non-implemented exception. So I'll just quickly remove this line and just add something so to show the output here. I'll just simply use this integer number is equals to 0, and I will set the okay, let me first add the name to this text block. Let's name it TB. So I'll just simply do that. TB dot text is equals to number dot to string number plus plus. That's it, simple part. Now the dt_tick event handler has been implemented, so it will not be showing an exception now. Let's again run this application. So now on the click of this button my dispatcher timer will start, and it will start ticking, and the text block value will be changing accordingly. 0, 1, 2, so simply. But now if you want to stop this, I haven't implemented that part. Okay, so simply the dispatcher timer has been started and just started ticking this. So let's just implement the stop part also, so that our stopwatch will be completed. It has nothing but the starting thing and the stop thing. So let's just implement the stop part. Okay, so here I'll be using the isEnabled property. If dt dot is enabled, dt dot stop, else dt dot start, right? So if the timer has already been started, it will stop that, or else it will start that. So let's just run that. Yes, our timer has been started, and once I click on this button again, it will stop dispatcher timer. So here we have just learned the isEnabled property, start and stop methods, interval property, and the event handler tick. So I guess it was very easy to implement timer in your application, that is dispatcher timer. In many cases we need to implement this timer in the application. Suppose I had an application last time in which I allowed the user to play a particular level for only 60 seconds. So yes, I can implement this timer, and I can just stop the UI and just get it to the next page. After this my timer has been implemented. Suppose I want to do for 60 seconds, so the number value when is 60, I will just navigate him to the next page, or just say that game is over. Thanks a lot.